Hello, welcome to another day's desk. Today I'm with my personal fitness instructor, James Ainsworth. We started doing this contra deal, whereas he beasts me once or twice a week, and I beast him on presentation skills because he wants to become a professional speaker. First thing we did was say, have you got an area of expertise you want to specialize in? And like quick as a flash, he went, yeah. What stops people taking action? I want to help people take action. And do you know what? When I work with young people or business owners, chief executives, doesn't matter. That is the single biggest thing. Anyone can learn how to set a goal. Anyone can learn how to define a purpose. Anyone can learn how to get the knowledge and skills they're missing and then bridge the skills gap. But if we haven't got that to actually start taking action in the first place, we're floundering. So I'm going to try, James, he's gone out and interviewed loads of really successful, highly effective people, just like I did on goal setting, but he's done it specifically on how do they take action. So let's see if we can pick his brains. Hi, James, how you doing?
I'm very well. How are yourself, David?
I am tickety and boo. I am really doing quite chipper today. Looking forward to this, mate. Really looking forward to this because I know for a long time you've been working very, very hard on this. So I'm keen to pick your brains and find out what you've discovered so far. So let's kick off if we can, because I know you help people go from being stuck to unstuck, being free to take action. So tell us about, very quickly, your background and why you started doing this.
Basically, I started doing personal training, nutrition, mindset, that kind of stuff. But one of the biggest things I had during the last 4 or 5 years was actually a breakup, which left me in basically at my lowest. And it was at that point I decided that I was going to commit and I was going to take action and change my life. And I suppose that's where the whole idea of taking action comes from, because since then I've been stepping forward, taking action, doing things I enjoy. So I did Reiki level 1, did Psyche, which is changing subconscious beliefs, which is the mindset coaching. I did what else I do? Loads. I conquered one of my biggest fears, which is public speaking. So as I've told you before, it was literally terrifying. And the Toastmasters gave me an opportunity to step out my comfort zone. And yes, the first 6 to 10 times, it is shit scary. And, sometimes, can I swear? Is that okay? Is that all right?
You did.
Yeah, okay. There's no option, is there really? So basically I did public speaking and I overcome that. And I actually started to realize I actually enjoy doing public speaking. And then, so I did that, carried it on for 2-3 years. Then I kind of did laughter yoga. Now, for people who didn't have laughter yoga, it's all about laughing with regards to different exercises and stuff. But it's great for the soul, it's great for the spirit, and it's great to get laughing and being in a good place.
So how did you go from doing all that to interviewing really successful people on taking action? What was the decision?
Yourself. Well, I suppose I've always wanted to be a speaker.
Yeah.
Ever since doing the public speaking, I've always wanted to be a speaker. And it was only really when I started COVID came in and I need to do something which is going to help me to do something that I enjoy, because all the other stuff I didn't so necessarily enjoy, like my heart kind of enjoyed it, my soul. It was more when I was doing the speaking and started getting action taking and doing the researching and interviewing people, I started getting addictive and I started to really, really enjoy what I was doing, kind of thing. And obviously speaking to yourself, and we're deciding that to go half. I train you, you train me, and you asked me what do I enjoy doing. And the only thing I could think of I've done in the last 4 years, as you said, action taking. So it was that basically pushed it into the realm where I am now, where I've actually done 28 to date, and I'm looking at getting to 100 by the end of the year.
Now, I know you are a person of action. I love that about you, James. And I know you've interviewed some very cool people. Some people, I'm quite jealous of. And I've interviewed 258 of them. I'm jealous of some of the people you've interviewed. So out of the 28 you've done, what is the single biggest thing, any common thread that is so common that enables these people to take bigger action?
So they always, basically what I've done, I collected all the information together into Excel so I can see where the biggest one is. And do they all say, just do it? Just take one single action. Just take one single action step to get you to where you
And
are.
is that first action step normally a big leap, or is it a tiny step?
Tiny step, all the
Right.
way.
So
Because,
that actually reinforces my goal setting stuff then, doesn't it? Massive
yeah,
goal, realistic steps. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to say
it's
something.
all right. As I was going to say, as you probably know with goal setting, when you've got a big goal, the brain gets so overwhelmed if you try and do something that big.
Yeah.
Whereas when you make it ridiculously small, the brain can't get overwhelmed because it's that small. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples, one myself, one of the, something else. So first we'll do the running. So if you want to get into running, something ridiculously small, perhaps go for a run for 100 days, 1 to 2 minutes each day. Because what you're doing then is you're then relaying new neural pathways in your brain. So it becomes a habit.
Running for 2 minutes. I'm tired thinking about that.
1 minute then, 30 seconds. Just make it that simple, that small,
Yeah.
You can do it. And one of my example myself is currently I'm doing some every day. I'm making sure that I do 10 minutes of speaking practice for 100 days, just to create new neural pathways, to create that new habit. So because the lady yesterday I interviewed, who a neuroscientist, she was saying rather than goals, create habits and processes.
Ooh, interesting.
So the idea there is by creating a new habit, you don't have to think consciously about that goal. So it's subconscious. So you do it automatically. So you haven't got to think about anything. It just happens.
And I know this wasn't specifically part of your questionnaire, but is there something that they alluded to other than taking small steps that helps people with the fear of starting or the fear of finding out they can't do it?
Well, this is it. Is it fear? What I've realised and what's come out of the interviewing is that the people know, the high top achievers know that some things they're going to do is literally whatever you do is going to be fear. It's no doubt about it. Like public speaking, like building a brand new business and just going for it. There's going to be that fear. But what these people do is they just do it anyway. You know, they just kind of accept their fear and the emotions from it's just going to happen, and they're going to learn from them fears and the emotions and them fears. They're going to learn from them. They're going to be more aware of them, and when you become more aware of these emotions, you're able then to delve deeper and start to release them. It becomes easier. And so some things are never ever going to get any easier because you want to keep pushing harder and harder and harder. And that's when you start progressing and start moving forward. That's when you start becoming a top achiever.
So it's about creating awareness, then acceptance, and then taking action.
Yeah, and understanding that fear is going to be a normal thing, and there's nothing we can do about fear. We can overcome fear through doing it again and again and again. But when you start off, it's going to be there, and you've just got to, as you said, acceptance. You've got to accept it for what it is.
And that is something. And I'm actually speaking personally now because I see it in loads of people, but I know it's in me as well. Which is, there's one particular issue around my relationship with my son. And my son is 15 years of age, he's a teenager, hormones raging, he's got severe autism. And I understand logically, I totally get he's autistic and the relationship is never going to be this idyllic, come on son, let's go hiking kind of stuff that, let me take you to the football, son, that I always dreamed of as a dad. I wanted to be the dad. My challenge has always been around accepting that. I understand it, I deal with it, but before I can move on and be the dad I need to be, I need to accept it. And I see that a lot in other people. They understand the problem, they're not accepting it. Just like I suppose you might say that a lot of people understand that they could achieve stuff and take action, but they're not accepting the fact that they're better than they think they are, and they're probably on the side of caution. So, how are you intending to help people with the knowledge you're getting from your research interviews?
So obviously I'm collating all the information together, and also I'm looking now at creating I want to start interviewing the general population, not necessarily like a proper full-on interview, but meeting them, finding out what makes people insecure, what are people's fears, and basically what are their challenges, finding out that bit deeper. And then I can then start to put a plan into place using what I've learned with a bit of goal setting, with acceptance, with awareness and all that kind of stuff, and help them to overcome them. Because first probably 2 or 3 months, you're going to have a lot of resistance to new stuff. But after 2 or 3 months, you've started creating new neural pathways in your brain, and it becomes easier. So whatever you do, whatever you struggle with, there's always going to be that resistance at the beginning, and it's always going to be messy at the start. But then you get to the point where you overcome that messiness and that resistance, and it becomes easier.
It's true. It's like tidying the office, isn't it? It gets messier before it gets tidier.
Yeah. This is it. I'm going to start creating programs. I'm going to start putting videos out. I'm going to start putting content up on social media and creating a tribe, so I'm able then to help people and overcome all this kind of stuff and progress in life.
So what I'm hearing is, so far, because you've interviewed 28 people, which by anybody's measurement, that's a great big chunk of evidence considering the caliber of people you're speaking to. But once you reach the 100, it's going to be phenomenal. So what I've taken so far from you is that we need to understand it, accept it, and then act. We need to just take tiny little steps to begin with, and as you say, get through the mess, and then it gets clearer. But the most important thing is do something.
Do something.
No matter how scared, terrified you are, do something.
Or even something tiny. Just something tiny. Ask yourself, what can I do today towards that?
Brilliant. And that reinforces what my friend Nigel Vardy, the mountaineer, says, because he says, when you're on a mountain and you're hanging off a rope and it's like 34 below zero and you're swinging in the air and you've got like half a cup of water left and a stick of plaster and no biscuits, all of a sudden you go, I need to make some decisions here, because if I don't make decisions, I'm going to die. And so he says, you keep making decisions. You can always, go back or go down a different track, but keep making decisions. Reaffirms totally what you're saying, James. So as a parting shot, whether it be from your research or whether it be from your pearls of wisdom, if there is one thing, the most important thing that you've heard so far, or a great quote that you've heard that will help people today to take action, what's that going to be?
Oh, you put me in a spot there.
Yeah.
This is like a backfire from me doing it to people. One thing. Become more aware of yourself.
And how do we do that?
So just sitting down, it's something you can do just this minute. Just sit down, take a few deep breaths. So as you inhale, say, I am breathing in calmness. As you exhale, I am breathing out stress, or I'm breathing out anxiety or overwhelm or self-doubt. And then just become more aware of the thoughts coming into your head, because quite often these inner thoughts, the ones, your self-limiting beliefs, which then don't judge them, just accept them for what they are and see them coming in. And then ask yourself, after probably 3 or 4 minutes of just observing, what's my intention for today? So it might be to be more present. It might be to get some work, this work done. It might be to start my fitness training plan or nutrition. And then ask yourself, what's one action step I can take? One simple action step I can take this moment to do that.
I've just been doing some deep breathing. Feel better for it. James, thank you for your time, your energy, your generosity and expertise.
My pleasure.
If people want to get hold of you, is there an email or a website or a social media thing that how can people get hold of you, James?
So you can get hold of me on LinkedIn as James Ainsworth, Facebook as James Ainsworth, and also one of my emails at the moment is lifetimefitness@hotmail.com.
Excellent. James, you're a star. God bless you, mate. Thank you very much. And
Thank you very much.
See you all soon on another Dave's Desk. Stay safe now.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Then click the TV to watch the next video. Oh, and don't forget to visit our website at davidhyner.com to claim your free audiobook. Until the next time, go Rhino. Having it.